already at chapter 5. This means after this chapter we are halfway through the mystery. Do you guys have an idea who've done it? I don't know yet. I'm thinking about all these clues. I'm wondering if the children have an idea yet. Let's see. So last time we left them, they were party planning for grandfather, and they were going to go interview Mr. Do you remember his name? Darden. Okay, chapter 5. An empty box and a silver star. Mr. Darden's house was on a quiet street not far from Main Street. The house had a small porch, and flowers grew in pots on either side of the front steps. When he opened the door, Mr. Darden looked surprised. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "We'd like to ask you a few more questions about the robbery at the antique treasures," Henry said. David Darden glanced over his shoulder, then quickly stepped out onto the porch, closing the door behind him. "What do you want to know?" he said. "Do you know anyone named Marvin Mapp?" Jessie asked. "No," Mr. Darden said. He hesitated and then said, "Except what I read about him in the newspaper, of course." "Why didn't you want to give your name and address to Mr. Bellows for the police?" Jessie went on. "Shh, keep your voice down." He looked over his shoulder again. "And why haven't you been back to buy a ring like you said you would?" Benny demanded. "Shh," Mr. Darden said sharply. Then he said, "Will you please go away?" And without saying another word, he turned and went back inside, closing the door firmly behind him. The children were so surprised that they didn't speak for a moment. They turned and went back down the steps to their bicycles. Jessie glanced over her shoulder at the house as they rode away. "He's hiding something," she said. "And don't forget, he knew the rubies were there, and he could have known how to steal them." After lunch, the Alden children gathered supplies to take out to the box cart. They were going to work on the party decorations there. But they reached the boxcar, their steps slowed. Watch growled softly, and the hair on his neck stood up. "What is it?" Jessie asked. "It looks like Benny's cereal," Violet said. Benny ran forward. "It is!" he cried. Someone had sprinkled stars all over the ground. The Aldens bent to examine the spilled cereal. Watch trotted around the corner of the boxcar. A moment later, he trotted back with something in his mouth. It was an empty cereal box. "The thief must have dropped the box while he was running away last night," said Henry. "Good dog, Watch." Watch moved his head and panted. Jessie looked puzzled. But why did he open it before he dropped it? Why did he take it if he didn't want to eat the cereal, Violet wondered. Said Jessie. "If you ask me, the cereal box mystery is even harder than the jewelry mystery. We know why someone would steal valuable jewelry, but we do not know why anyone would want to steal a box of cereal." This is Watch and Benny with the cereal by the boxcar. He's picking up his cereal. When Sue Lee arrived, the Aldens told her what had happened. She was just as puzzled as they were. "But if we scatter the cereal here in the grass," she said, "at least the birds can eat it." "Good idea, Sue Lee," said Jessie. So Lee and Violet and Benny scooped up the cereal that was spilled near the boxcar and scattered it across the lawn for the birds. Watched helped by eating pieces of the cereal. That was very nice of Watch the dog, wasn't it? "Oh, Watch," Sue Lee laughed. "You're a silly dog." Watch wagged his tail. "It's good cereal, isn't it, Watch?" asked Benny. Watch wagged his tail again. "I've never had any," said Sue Lee. "You've never had silver frosted stars?" Benny's eyes widened. "Wait right here." He hurried away and returned with his open box of cereal. Going into the boxcar, he remembered with an old cracked pink cup, and that he had when he and his sisters and brothers lived in the boxcar. He poured some cereal into that cup. "Here," he said, You can eat it without milk. We'll eat stars while we make decorations for Grandfather's party. The Aldens worked all afternoon. Benny and Sue Lee made a big poster that said, "Happy Birthday, Grandfather," in bright letters. They painted a rainbow behind the words. Violet painted a bouquet of purple flowers with green leaves and drew a frame around it for Grandfather. Let's see. Jessie and Henry gathered branches of greenery to make birthday wreaths. That was very clever. "We can pick flowers on his birthday and make it a big birthday bouquet," said Jessie. "We could paint pine cones different colors and put them in a big glass bowl," said Sue Lee. "That would be very pretty." I know an even better idea," cried Benny, bouncing up and down with an excitement. "What is it?" Benny asked Violet. "We can get Grandfather a special tree and decorate it. We can plant it and he will have it forever," Benny said. "That's a terrific idea, Benny," said Jessie. "We'll put all our money towards it together and go pick out a tree tomorrow." Violet suddenly turned her head and frowned. "What is it, Violet?" said Sue Lee. "I don't know," said Violet. She looked around uneasily. Then she said, "I must be imagining things, but I just had the strangest feeling that someone was watching us." The other Aldens looked around too, but they couldn't see anybody. Then Watch jumped up and raced towards the woods behind the house, barking as loud as he could. See you guys in Chapter 7.